think The Shining is a perfect film. Every second, every aspect communicates something to us. I want to do a deep dive into the visuals of its key scenes to see what they tell us. Let's start at the beginning. This opening visual suggests the scale in which the film is going to be working, which is epic. It also brings into play a landscape that has been known for centuries as uniquely American, and that is the majestic Rocky Mountains. Then we dissolve into the introduction of the Torrance family car. This very high aerial view, in fact an aerial view even higher than we're used to seeing, does two things. One, it dramatically diminishes the family car, while also approximating a God's eye view. Then we cut to more conventional aerial height and also a more conventional Western landscape. Most conventional artistic Western landscapes are majestic, beautiful, eternal, and empty. They are the space of possibility, purification, and renewal, the American Eden, a space where any man can become more fully himself and more powerful, at least according to the frontier myth. And we know Jack Torrance is heading to the Overlook for exactly those reasons. The vastness of the landscape, which dwarfs the individual human subject, is meant to seem unconquerable, a worthy adversary to a great man. Its emptiness, save for the conquering hero at its feet, poised to begin his hero's journey, is also important. This space is empty, erased of its indigenous nations, and, in the Euro-American imagination, ripe for filling, in need of conquest and domestication, and penetration. I also want to say a quick word about the camera and the camera work. Though it might at first seem as though the camera is mostly recording the landscape in the Torrance's drive to the Overlook, the way the camera work works in this scene gives it a more explicit narrational presence, kind of like a free indirect narrator, which is something we can see in some German expressionist films like F.W. Murnau's The Last Laugh and Sunrise. As the scene goes on, the camera feels less like an objective observer and more like the gaze of a participating subject. We see this most especially when the observing eye dives down and whooshes by the family car, a subtle shift from third person to first person. It expresses a palpable presence, an intelligence, a higher power, one keeping its eye or his eye on the proceedings, and a higher power that will persist throughout the film. Kubrick's opening scene brings to bear an entire history of Western landscape painting and Western mythology, and then brings it to rest and embodies it in our first view of the Overlook Hotel, a structure as awe-inspiring as its surrounding mountains.